Rajesh was a rickshaw puller in Kolkata, known for his strong arms and ever-present smile. Every morning, he woke up before dawn, receiving a tiffin from his loving wife, Meera. Kolkata was bustling and unpredictable, filled with both opportunities and challenges for Rajesh. One day, a passenger insisted on playing loud Bollywood music during the ride, making Rajesh chuckle. Rajesh enjoyed the music, humming along as he navigated through the crowded streets. The passenger, amused by Rajesh's enthusiasm, tipped him generously at the end. As the day progressed, Rajesh encountered various passengers, each with their own stories. One elderly lady, grateful for his help with her bags, shared tales of her youth in the city. These moments of connection with his passengers brought Rajesh immense joy. He felt like he was not just pulling a rickshaw, but also sharing in the lives of those he met. Despite the physical strain of his job, Rajesh found motivation in these small interactions. His favorite passengers were the school children, who always greeted him with laughter and excitement. One afternoon, Rajesh noticed a little girl crying on the side of the road. He stopped his rickshaw and asked her what was wrong, offering her a kind smile. The girl had lost her way and couldn't find her home. Rajesh assured her that he would help, and after some searching, they found her anxious mother. The mother, overwhelmed with gratitude, tried to pay Rajesh, but he refused, saying, "A smile is payment enough." Rajesh continued his day, feeling a sense of fulfillment from helping the girl. However, life wasn't always easy for Rajesh and Meera. Their small home needed repairs, and money was often tight. Meera often stayed up late, stitching clothes to earn a little extra income. Rajesh hated seeing her work so hard, but knew they had to make ends meet. One evening, Rajesh pulled his rickshaw through a quiet neighborhood. Reflecting on his life, he wished he could give Meera a better life, one free of worries. As he was lost in thought, a sudden downpour drenched him to the bone. He laughed at the absurdity of it, finding humor even in the challenging moments. Drenched but undeterred, Rajesh continued working, knowing his responsibilities didn't stop for the rain. When he finally returned home, Meera greeted him with a warm towel and a hot meal. They sat together, eating in comfortable silence, each finding strength in the other. Despite the hardships, they were grateful for what they had: a home, food, and each other. The next morning, Rajesh set out early, determined to earn enough to cover their expenses. He picked up a passenger who was in a hurry, racing against time to catch a train. Rajesh pedaled furiously, weaving through traffic with impressive skill. The passenger, anxious at first, soon marveled at Rajesh's ability to navigate the chaotic streets. They reached the station just in time, and the passenger, breathless, thanked Rajesh profusely. As the train pulled away, Rajesh felt a sense of pride in his work. He knew that his job was more than just pulling a rickshaw. It was about being a small but vital part of people's lives. Each day brought new experiences, new challenges, and new reasons to keep going. One day, Rajesh picked up an elderly man who seemed lost in thought. The man was headed to the hospital, his eyes filled with worry and sorrow. Curious, Rajesh gently asked if everything was all right. The man sighed, revealing that his wife was gravely ill and he feared losing her. Rajesh felt a pang of sympathy, his heart heavy with the man's sadness. He offered words of comfort, though he knew they were inadequate for such deep pain. At the hospital, the man thanked Rajesh and handed him a crumpled note as payment. Rajesh noticed the man's hand trembling, a silent testament to the burden he carried. As Rajesh rode away, he couldn't shake the man's sorrow from his mind. It reminded him of the fragility of life and the importance of cherishing each moment. That evening, Rajesh returned home, hugging Meera a little tighter than usual. He didn't tell her about the man, but his heart was heavy with unspoken worries. The next day, Rajesh picked up a group of college students who were full of energy and laughter. They joked and teased each other, their carefree attitude a stark contrast to the man from the previous day. Their lightheartedness was infectious, and Rajesh found himself laughing along with them. It was moments like these that made the hard work worthwhile. After dropping them off, Rajesh realized how much he enjoyed the diversity of his passengers. Each one brought something different to his day: joy, sorrow, or just a new perspective. That night, Rajesh and Meera talked about their dreams and hopes for the future. They fantasized about saving enough money to buy a small shop where Meera could sell her stitched clothes. It was a dream they both knew would take years to achieve, but it gave them something to look forward to. Rajesh promised Meera that one day they would make it happen. The following week, Rajesh had a strange encounter with a well-dressed man who seemed out of place in the rickshaw. The man was quiet, his expression unreadable, as Rajesh pedaled through the city. When they reached the destination, the man handed Rajesh a large tip without a word. Rajesh was surprised but didn't question it, grateful for the extra money. Later, Rajesh found out that the man was a famous actor, visiting Kolkata in disguise to experience the city like a commoner. Rajesh laughed at the idea of unknowingly giving a ride to a celebrity. This story became one of Rajesh's favorites to share with other passengers. It was a reminder that no matter who you are, everyone enjoys the simple pleasures of life. As the days passed, Rajesh continued to work hard, always with Meera and their dream in his mind. He encountered more passengers, each with their own unique story. One afternoon, he picked up a young woman who was visibly upset. She had just lost her job and didn't know how she would make ends meet. Rajesh listened as she poured out her worries, offering her words of encouragement. He told her about his own struggles and how he found strength in not giving up. The woman smiled through her tears, thanking Rajesh for his kindness. She got off the rickshaw with a bit more hope than when she had gotten on. These interactions, though brief, left a lasting impact on Rajesh. He realized that even in his small role, he could make a difference in people's lives. At the end of the day, Rajesh returned home to Meera, feeling fulfilled. They sat together, talking about their day and their dreams, finding solace in each other's company. Months passed and Rajesh and Meera continued their routine, working hard to save money for their dream. Life was tough, but they faced each challenge with determination. One evening, Rajesh was pulling his rickshaw when he noticed a familiar face in the crowd. It was the elderly man from the hospital, looking even more frail and worn. Rajesh stopped and offered the man a ride, sensing that he needed help. The man accepted, though his expression was one of deep sorrow. As they rode through the city, the man spoke of his wife, who had passed away recently. His voice was filled with grief, and Rajesh listened silently, his heart aching for the man. At the end of the ride, the man thanked Rajesh for his kindness. Tears in his eyes, Rajesh watched him walk away, feeling a profound sense of sadness. That night, Rajesh couldn't sleep, thinking about the man and the pain of losing someone you love. He realized how fragile life was and how important it was to cherish every moment. The next morning, Rajesh was quieter than usual as he set out for work. Meera noticed but didn't press him, sensing that something was weighing on his mind. Throughout the day, Rajesh found it hard to shake the sadness that had settled in his heart. Even the cheerful passengers couldn't lift his spirits. Later, Rajesh picked up a young couple who were excitedly talking about their upcoming wedding. Their joy was infectious, and Rajesh found himself smiling despite his earlier mood. The couple's happiness reminded Rajesh of the good things in life. It was a small but powerful reminder that even in the midst of sorrow, there was still joy to be found. As the weeks went by, Rajesh began to regain his usual optimism. He focused on his work, finding comfort in the routine and the small moments of connection with his passengers. One day, Rajesh encountered a young boy selling flowers on the street. The boy was thin and ragged, but his eyes were bright with determination. Rajesh bought a flower from the boy, struck by his resilience. It reminded him of his own struggles and the importance of never giving up. That evening, Rajesh gave the flower to Mira, who smiled and placed it in a small vase. It was a simple gesture, but it meant the world to both of them. As they sat together that night, Rajesh and Mira talked about their dreams once more. They knew the road ahead would be tough, but they were determined to keep going. The next day, Rajesh picked up a passenger who was in a hurry to get to a job interview. The man was nervous, fidgeting in the back of the rickshaw as Rajesh pedaled quickly. Rajesh wished the man luck as he dropped him off, hoping that he would get the job. It was moments like these that reminded Rajesh of the importance of helping others, even in small ways. As he rode through the city, Rajesh felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was more than just a rickshaw puller. He was a part of the fabric of the city, helping people in their daily lives. That night, Rajesh returned home with a sense of accomplishment. He knew that no matter what challenges came his way, he would face them with determination and a positive attitude. As time passed, Rajesh and Mira's savings slowly grew, bringing them closer to their dream of owning a small shop. They were excited about the future, even though they knew it was still far away. One evening, Rajesh picked up a familiar passenger, the well-dressed man who had once tipped him generously. This time, the man was more talkative, sharing stories of his travels and experiences. Rajesh listened with interest, marveling at the man's stories of distant places and different cultures. The man, noticing Rajesh's fascination, encouraged him to dream big, saying, "You never know where life might take you." After the ride, the man handed Rajesh another generous tip and a business card. "If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to reach out," he said before walking away. Rajesh looked at the card, feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. He wasn't sure if he would ever use it, but it was nice to know that someone believed in him. That night, Rajesh showed the card to Mira, who smiled and said, "Maybe this is a sign that things are looking up for us." They both felt a renewed sense of hope. As the days went by, Rajesh continued his work with a lighter heart. The encounter with the well-dressed man had lifted his spirits, and he felt more motivated than ever. One day, Rajesh picked up a group of schoolchildren who were on their way to a local fair. The children were excited, chattering away about the rides and games they wanted to try. Rajesh couldn't help but smile at their enthusiasm. Remembering his own childhood, he made sure to get them to the fair safely, wishing them a fun day as they ran off. As he rode away, Rajesh thought about how simple things could bring so much joy. It reminded him to appreciate the small moments in life, even as he worked towards his bigger dreams. That evening, Rajesh and Mira sat together, talking about the future. They were closer than ever to achieving their dream, and the thought filled them with hope. The next morning, Rajesh woke up early, determined to work hard and make the most of the day. He picked up a passenger who was in a rush to catch a flight. Rajesh pedaled as fast as he could, weaving through the busy streets with skill and determination. The passenger was impressed, commenting on Rajesh's dedication and work ethic. They reached the airport just in time, and the passenger thanked Rajesh, giving him a big tip. Rajesh felt a surge of pride as he watched the passenger disappear into the crowd. As he rode back through the city, Rajesh reflected on how far he had come. Despite the challenges and hardships, he had never given up, and now he was closer than ever to his dream. That night, Rajesh and Mira sat together, talking about the future once more. They knew that the road ahead would still be difficult, but they were ready to face it together. The next day, Rajesh picked up an elderly woman who was struggling with her bags. He helped her into the rickshaw, carefully arranging her bags to make her comfortable. The woman thanked Rajesh, commenting on his kindness and strength. Rajesh smiled, feeling a deep sense of satisfaction in being able to help others. As they rode through the city, the woman shared stories of her youth, filling the ride with warmth and nostalgia. Rajesh listened attentively, enjoying the conversation. When they reached the woman's destination, she thanked Rajesh again, giving him a small but heartfelt tip. Rajesh watched her walk away, feeling grateful for the encounter. As the days turned into weeks, Rajesh and Mira continued to work hard, saving every rupee they could. Their dream was within reach, and they were determined to make it a reality. Finally, the day came when they had saved enough to open their small shop. It was a modest place, but it was theirs, a symbol of their hard work and perseverance. Rajesh and Mira stood outside the shop, their hearts swelling with pride and joy. They had achieved their dream together, and it was the start of a new chapter in their lives. As they opened the doors for the first time, they knew that the future was bright. They had faced countless challenges, but they had never given up, and now they were reaping the rewards. Rajesh continued to pull his rickshaw, but now he did so with a lighter heart. He knew that no matter what the future held, he and Mira would face it together, with strength and love. And as he rode through the streets of Kolkata, Rajesh smiled, knowing that he had found both purpose and happiness in the simple act of pulling a rickshaw.